Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th edition of the Paris Peace Forum. I'm very glad to welcome all of you. It's a packed room. It will be a packed 2 days with lots of important sessions, whether on global issues and geopolitics. This year, as you know, the theme of the forum is New Coalitions for Peace, People and the Planet. And we asked Michelle Bachelet, the former president of Chile, to give an opening address for these 2 days. But before that, please join me in welcoming Ángel Gurría, the president of the Paris Peace Forum.
Distinguished heads of state, government, excellencies, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I am Ángel Gurría, President of the Paris Peace Forum, and it is with deep gratitude and renewed sense of purpose that I welcome you to the 8th edition of the Paris Peace Forum. For 7 years, now 7 years, looks like only yesterday, our forum has stood as a place where the dialogue meets action, and where the conviction that peace must be built, not merely wished for, continues to guide us. This year's forum carries a special resonance. Our theme, New Coalitions for Peace, People, and the Planet, remind us that the challenges of our century, geopolitical tensions, climate change, unregulated technologies, cannot be met without collective action. They demand new alliances, bold partnerships, and the courage to bridge divides between North and South, East and West, public and private, local and global. At the forum, we want to reinvent diplomacy in a changing world. The world faces many burning crises, and we will discuss them, from Ukraine to the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Middle East, where the PPF has played an important role in the recognition of Palestine by France, and by bringing together civil society from Israel and Palestine to support the two-state solution last June. And as we ask the million-dollar question, who can fix these crises? And who can fix the global order? Well, the UN, China, Europe, the middle powers, the United States. In 2025, we also celebrate a historic milestone, the 10th anniversary of the Paris Agreement, aiming at reducing global warming. I have to say, I was there, and it was one of the most exciting moments. That spirit of cooperation, of shared responsibility and hope must once again inspire us all, as well as the leaders going to COP30 in a few days' time. And we will host 4 high-level sessions on the subject. Other government priorities will include protecting the integrity of information, the independent media, keeping it independent, with a high-level conference co-organized with IFPIM and the Forum for Information and Democracy. And also about rethinking development financing. I have to say I was in Seville a few weeks ago, and it wasn't a happy occasion. We have the disappearance of AID, plus the pressure to go up to 5% of GDP on defense spending. And of course, that is being taken away. It's being taken away precisely from development aid. I have to say that there's growing debt also as big problem. Not only growing debt, but the growing debt service burden that is burdening many countries. A multiplication of health, climate, and security crises. Let this forum be a moment of renewal, a reminder that peace is inseparable from the well-being of people and the health of our planet. The coalitions we forge here can become the foundations for a better world. I thank you for your presence, for your contributions, and welcome to the Paris Peace Forum. And now, let me invite President Bachelet, please.
Good morning, everyone. Excellencies, distinguished guests, friends. It's an honor to be here once again in Paris, a city through its long and sometimes painful history has often embodied both the fragility and the resilience of peace. I want to thank the organizers of the Paris Peace Forum for creating this unique space where governments, civil society, youth, and the private sector gather not as competitors, but as partners to advance on shared pursuit of the more just and sustainable world. Today, we gather at a time of profound questions. We see conflicts we thought will never return. We witness communities torn apart by violence, polarization, and hate. Yet, I have always believed that even in the most difficult moments, humanity has the capacity to choose cooperation over confrontation, inclusion over isolation, and hope over despair. I come from a generation that saw firsthand what happens when human rights are denied and institutions fail to protect the vulnerable. For my mother and me, multilateralism was never abstract. It was a lifeline. Because no matter how powerful or powerless we were, we all share a common responsibility to uphold dignity and justice. Yet today, it is under immense strain. Conflicts have multiplied and trust is eroding. This is exactly why we need more multilateralism, not less. One that is open, inclusive, and rooted in today's realities. Peace, justice, and sustainability are interdependent. And this is the essence of multilateralism, a chain of pillars linking security, development, and human rights always and everywhere. Today, I would like to highlight three elements that are indispensable to shaping our common future. First, conflicts are more complex than ever. We witness wars playing out in cities at an acceptable cost in lives, in cyberspace, and in the minds of people. They involve state and non-state actors, disinformation, campaigns, and deep societal fractures. That is why peace building must also change. This process must be built from the ground up by experts and communities alike, by women, youth, and all of those too often left behind. During my years as President of Chile, and later as High Commissioner for Human Rights, I learned that peace is not only the absence of conflict, but the presence of trust and dialogue. It is the daily work of building institutions that are fair, accountable, and inclusive. It is ensuring that justice is not a privilege, but a right for everyone. Peace requires prevention, the quiet, persistent work that may not make headlines, but builds the foundation of stable societies. Second, we must acknowledge one of the greatest obstacles to lasting peace, deep inequality. Across the globe, we see growing frustration with systems that seem to reward the few, while leaving too many behind. We see entire generations questioning whether democracy as they know it can deliver. We should listen to them. Social justice is central to peace and stability. When people feel excluded or ignored, the grounds became fertile for anger and for extremism. But when people see that their voices count, they're more willing to defend democracy, and their societies become more resilient. As a medical doctor, I know that the best way to heal is to prevent suffering before it begins. As a former president, I know that fairness is the best vaccine against instability. As a former High Commissioner of Human Rights, I know that human rights are not obstacles to progress, but the path to it. Third, if we talk about peace, we cannot ignore this existential threat of the triple planetary crisis of climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. The floods, fires, droughts, and displacement we're witnessing are the consequences of our choices. This crisis also presents us with an opportunity to reevaluate our relationship with nature and with one another. Climate action can be a bridge between generations, nations, and economies. It can unite us if we ensure just transitions that leave no one behind, because those least responsible for causing this crisis are the most affected by it. Today, we have the technology, the science, and the resources. So what we need is political will and a renewed sense of shared purpose. I have seen in Latin America, Africa, and Asia countless examples of a community leading the way, restoring forests, protecting oceans, innovating with clean energy, and showing that another way of living is possible. Their leadership reminds us that wisdom exists everywhere, in every culture and in every people. Dear friends, after the pandemic, economic shocks, and conflict, we have learned that our neighbor's safety is our own. We're not atomized, alienated individuals, but communal beings, yearning to connect with and learn from one another. In our interconnected global community, we need a renewed global compact, one that places people at the center, not as rhetoric, but as the measure of our success. This means rethinking global governance to make it more representative, transparent, and responsive to humanity's diversity. It means defending international law and human rights and recommitting to the UN Charter, to the very belief that cooperation is our greatest tool to tackle today's challenges and build tomorrow's world. And it means bringing back trust through honest dialogue, through institutions that deliver, and through a leadership that listens. The challenges we face cannot be solved by one country, one region, or one sector alone. They require broad alliances among government, yes, but also cities, businesses, scientists, faith leaders, artists, and activists, to name a few. Multilateralism is the framework that allowed us to navigate turbulence without losing our direction, our common purpose. It is the understanding that sovereignty today is strengthened, not diminished, when exercised in partnership. What we need now is not declaration, but steady commitment. Commitment to dialogue, even when it's difficult. Commitment to rules, and above all, commitment to human dignity. I have seen across continents and through crisis the power of perseverance, the patient work of those who keep faith in cooperation when others turn away. That is how change happens, through the cumulative courage of those who refuse to give up on one another. Let us leave this forum with a renewed sense of purpose, to rebuild trust, to defend the principles that unite us, and to prepare institutions for the world of today, and more importantly, for the world we want tomorrow. Because peace is not just a promise, but our responsibility. Merci beaucoup.
Ladies and gentlemen, the forum is now open. So I invite you to either stay in this room where we'll have a great session momentarily on the UN, or to spread out in the two museums where we are located today, the Musée de l'Homme here and the Musée de la Marine. Lots of sessions, virtually all of them are open, so please enjoy the forum and let's make the most of it. Thank you.